Picture this, two martial arts legends standing face to face in what would become one of the most talked about combat sports history. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a Shaolin blade. When news broke that a traditional Shaolin monk and Jim Kelly would finally settle their rivalry in the ring, the martial arts community went absolutely wild. This wasn't just another fight. This was the collision of ancient tradition versus modern athleticism, spiritual discipline meeting Hollywood flash. The backstory? Both warriors had carved their names into martial arts legend through completely different paths. Kelly, the lightning-fast karate champion from Enter the Dragon fame, versus a Shaolin master who'd spent decades perfecting techniques passed down through centuries. Their mutual respect had always been tinged with the question, would ancient wisdom triumph over modern training? Kelly entered the arena like a predator stalking prey. His reputation preceded him. This was a man who could throw 6 punches in the time most fighters threw 2. Standing 6'2" with the lean, muscular build of a classical martial artist, Kelly represented speed incarnate. His strengths were absolutely terrifying to opponents. Kelly's hand speed was legendary. Witnesses described his combinations as invisible until they landed. His footwork was poetry in motion, allowing him to slip in and out of range like a phantom. The man had reflexes that seemed almost supernatural, honed through years of point fighting tournaments where split-second timing meant everything. But here's where it gets interesting. Kelly's greatest strength was also his potential weakness. His style relied heavily on distance management and precise timing. He was a surgical striker, preferring to pick apart opponents with calculated attacks rather than engage in prolonged exchanges. This approach had served him well in tournaments, but against someone trained in the endurance-based disciplines of Shaolin, it could become problematic. Kelly's tournament background meant he was used to fighting under specific rules, point sparring, where the first clean technique scored. Real combat, even in a controlled environment, demanded different skills. His conditioning, while excellent for short bursts, hadn't been tested against the kind of relentless flowing attacks that Shaolin martial arts were famous for. When the Shaolin monks stepped into the arena, you could feel the atmosphere shift. This wasn't just another fighter, this was a living embodiment of 1,500 years of martial arts evolution. His compact 5'8" frame carried the kind of functional strength that came from decades of traditional conditioning methods that most modern fighters couldn't even imagine. The monk brought something Kelly had rarely faced: perfect internal and external harmony combined with devastating traditional techniques. His Shaolin Kung Fu background gave him incredible versatility: striking, grappling, weapons forms, and the legendary 72 arts training that had forged his body into something approaching superhuman durability. The man's conditioning was beyond legendary. Stories circulated about his training regimen, breaking stones with bare hands, balancing on fingertips for hours, the kind of dedication that bordered on the mystical. The monk could maintain perfect technique under extreme physical stress, something that gave him a massive advantage in extended combat. His mental game was equally extraordinary. Shaolin training emphasized meditation and mental clarity alongside physical prowess. The monk had that rare ability to remain completely calm under pressure, reading his opponent's intentions almost before they formed. This psychological advantage often disrupted opponents before the physical battle even began. But the monk had his vulnerabilities too. His traditional style, while devastatingly effective, hadn't been tested against the kind of modern athletic approach that Kelly represented. His techniques, though powerful, required precise timing and positioning. Against an opponent with Kelly's speed and unpredictable movement patterns, some of his more elaborate techniques might leave him exposed. When the bell rang, Kelly immediately established his rhythm. His jab flicked out like a snake's tongue, testing distance and timing. The monk, displaying the patience of centuries, began his methodical assessment, his stance shifting subtly as he read Kelly's patterns. The first significant exchange came 90 seconds in. Kelly landed a picture-perfect reverse punch that should have staggered any normal opponent. But the monk's conditioning showed. He absorbed the blow with barely a flinch, his body having been hardened through years of iron shirt training. The crowd gasped. This wasn't going to be the quick Kelly victory many had expected. The monk's response was immediate and flowed like water. A low sweep that Kelly barely avoided, followed by a palm strike that grazed Kelly's ribs as he twisted away. This pattern established itself early, Kelly's modern speed and precision meeting the monk's ancient power and seemingly supernatural toughness. By the third round, the real battle became clear. This wasn't just about techniques, it was about two completely different approaches to martial arts mastery. Kelly fought with the precision of a surgeon, each movement calculated for maximum efficiency. The monk flowed like nature itself, adapting constantly, turning Kelly's own energy against him. Kelly's combinations, while blindingly fast, began to meet unexpected responses. The monk would suddenly shift stance, turning a straight punch into a glancing blow while simultaneously positioning for a counterattack. His footwork wasn't flashy like Kelly's, but it was perfectly economical, never wasting movement, always maintaining perfect balance. The decisive moment came in round 6. Kelly threw one of his signature combination attacks, a jab cross-hook sequence that had dropped numerous opponents. But the monk was ready. Using a technique called sticky hands, he intercepted Kelly's combination at the source, redirecting the punches while simultaneously launching his own devastating counter.
What happened next revealed the true depth of Shaolin training. The monk unleashed a flowing combination that seemed to come from every angle at once, high and low, circular and linear, hard and soft. Kelly, for all his speed, found himself caught in a web of techniques that built upon each other like links in an unbreakable chain. A palm strike to the solar plexus doubled Kelly over, immediately followed by a knee strike that sent him stumbling backward. For the first time in the fight, Kelly looked genuinely bewildered. He was facing something his tournament experience had never prepared him for. An opponent who seemed to flow like water around his attacks while striking back with the force of mountains. What happened next revealed the true character of both fighters. Kelly, despite being clearly outmatched by the monk's adaptability, showed incredible heart. He began to adjust his strategy, using his superior boxing skills and footwork to create angles the monk hadn't anticipated. His corner worked frantically between rounds, helping him understand that he needed to fight his own fight, not get drawn into the monk's flowing rhythm. The monk, sensing the tide of battle, began to display the full range of his Shaolin arsenal. His strikes became more varied: tiger claws, crane beaks, dragon fists, each technique perfectly suited to the moment. He was systematically adapting to Kelly's adjustments, showing the kind of martial intelligence that came from decades of studying combat as both art and science. The 8th round was pure poetry in motion. Kelly, knowing he was behind, threw caution to the wind. His combinations came in rapid-fire succession, each one a potential fight-ender. But the monk weathered the storm like a mountain enduring a hurricane. He absorbed what he couldn't redirect, flowed around what he couldn't absorb, and gradually turned Kelly's own aggression into openings for devastating counters. When the final bell rang, both fighters embraced with genuine respect. They'd pushed each other into territories neither had explored before. Kelly had shown that his speed and modern training methods were every bit as formidable as advertised. The monk had proven that traditional Shaolin methods, when properly applied, could adapt to and overcome even the most athletic modern opponent. But in the end, the Shaolin won by unanimous decision. The judges scored the fight based on effective technique, adaptability, and sustained dominance, all areas where the monk had gradually built insurmountable advantages throughout the contest. The monk won because he fought the perfect fight for his skills while simultaneously neutralizing Kelly's advantages. While Kelly had moments of brilliant technique, the monk controlled the overall flow and rhythm of the battle. His ability to adapt in real time to Kelly's attacks turned the American's greatest strengths into manageable problems.
The monk's traditional conditioning allowed him to maintain perfect technique while Kelly deteriorated under pressure. Using Wu Wei, effortless action, he turned Kelly's energy against him, gradually building toward victory. This legendary fight showcased ancient wisdom overcoming modern athleticism, proving that centuries of refined Shaolin technique prevail when tradition meets innovation in combat.